First up, we head to Warren County, Ohio for the sentencing of Lance Runyon. The 57-year-old pled guilty to attempted aggravated murder. More than 6 months earlier, the husband and father was home alone when he sent an alarming text to his family, causing his brother to call 911. The brother asked police to do a welfare check on Runyon, who, as it happens, previously worked as a corrections officer. The visit's captured by a doorbell camera. There's several deputies outside, including 12-year vet Sarah Vaught.
What do you say? 482, she'll give you the garage code if she wants us to check on him. Here it comes. Here he is, here he is.
Runyon fired once at Deputy Vaught, but somehow she avoids getting hit. Not so for Runyon, who was hit multiple times.
Show us your hands! Show us your hands! Show us your hands!
I'm good, I think.
The deputies tend to the fallen Runyon. He was taken to a local hospital and survived his injuries. Runyon pled guilty to all charges and claimed he couldn't clearly remember the incident.
The state of Ohio versus Lance Runyon, we are present for sentencing.
At sentencing, Runyon's looking at a possible maximum of 23 years in prison. But first, the state plays a full recording of the incident, including a brief comment made by Runyon from inside just minutes before he opened fire. That was Runyon, who then waits another 2 minutes before finally opening the door. After this horrifying moment is played for the court, Deputy Vaught comes forward to address the judge and the man who tried to kill her.
I have dealt with hundreds of people in crisis during my 12 years on patrol. And Lance Runyon is the only one that has tried to kill me. But I did not survive unharmed. I was diagnosed with PTSD and went through months of treatment until my symptoms were under control. I am still healing and will carry the effects of this with me for the rest of my life.
Next, Runyon's given a chance to address the court.
I'd like to apologize to the deputy, the other officers. She just... I just don't remember much of it. I'm sorry that it happened. Not because I'm in trouble, but because for everybody. And I'm just sorry. Sorry to all of you.
Finally, after hearing Runyon's tearful apology, the judge gets the final word before imposing sentence.
Mr. Runyon, you cannot offer an explanation to the court as to why this happened. Obviously, I'm in no position to be able to try to explain it either. You did acknowledge your guilt. You do not have a prior record, so the court does take that into consideration. So the court is going to order you to serve a period of 10 years, a minimum term sentence in prison with a maximum term of 15 years.
In addition to the 10 years for attempted aggravated murder, Runyon's sentenced to a minimum of 7 years for committing the offense with a firearm, for a total of 17 years in a state prison. We're in the Ann Arbor, Michigan virtual courtroom of Judge Cedric Simpson for a sentencing hearing. 41-year-old Natasha Mitchell has pled guilty to operating a vehicle while intoxicated. A year earlier, police found Mitchell outside a pizza parlor in the driver's seat of her car, along with a bottle of tequila. Her blood alcohol level was 0.119, well above the legal limit of 0.08. She was arrested and released on a personal recognizance bond. Mitchell is banned from drinking alcohol while out on bond and has been required to use a SoberLink portable breathalyzer for the past year. And while she's consistently had negative test results, she's recently missed some tests completely. So the probation department is requesting she be given jail time and upgraded to an ankle bracelet.
Okay, where are we on this one?
There was a request for 4 days in jail to report to the Washington County Jail today at 6 p.m. to get a scram tether placed on her.
This all seems to take Mitchell by surprise.
Please don't put me on a tether. It's embarrassing enough have to blow when I do. I've been blowing for probably, a year now. I have had some times where I've missed because of falling asleep or just simply forgetting. Lord have mercy. Please give me some leniency.
Miss Mitchell?
Yes.
How long have we been dealing with each other?
I don't know. It's been a long time, but I haven't seen you in a long time. It's been years since I've seen you.
Mitchell and Judge Simpson have history. She's appeared in his courtroom several times before.
Miss Mitchell, if it's been all that long, why do you think I remember you?
Because you always was saying how my face was looking mean or how I always look mean, but I smile now. I don't.
You always would appear before me with, you had a scowl.
I had an attitude. I had a very bad attitude.
Yes, you did. I'm glad you finally admit that. I kept telling you that.
That's the old me.
Let's see if we can get you through this, Miss Mitchell, okay?
With the reminiscing over, Judge Simpson turns his attention to the question at hand, whether or not to punish Mitchell for her missed tests.
So here's what I'm going to do, Miss Mitchell. I'm going to place you on 24 months probation. I'm going to continue on the sober line.
I appreciate it.
But you cannot miss any tests.
I will not miss any test.
I will not have her report to jail at this time.
I won't let you down. I appreciate you.
Miss Polera or Elin, if she even begins to mess up, come find me personally, because I'm going to get in my truck and we're going to go get her.
I will make note of that.
And she does not want me just rolling up on her, because I will.
I sure don't. I sure don't.
Mitchell's serving her 2 years probation, but she avoided jail time and remains on her SoberLink. Judge Simpson has not had to deploy his truck. We now head to Stillwater, Oklahoma, for a lesser-known aspect of the legal system that we rarely touch here on Court Cam, the potentially dangerous business of bail bonds. Seated behind the desk of signature bail bonds is owner 41-year-old Chastity Carey. A week earlier, she was hired by this man, Brandon Williams. Carey paid his $35,000 bond so he could be released while waiting to return to court to face charges of second-degree burglary and possession of marijuana. The third person in the office is Chastity Carey's 19-year-old son and the butt of Williams' jokes.
You got out of jail? No, you're a boy, ain't you?
Just got out of jail.
Ouch. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I hit on your mom nonstop. Well, no, I don't.
But this is no laughing matter. Williams is unaware that Carey and her son are planning to revoke his bond and take him into custody after they learned he was planning on leaving the state for a trip to Florida to attend his mother's funeral.
What?
Turn around.
What do you mean?
Turn around.
What's going on here?
I'm going to sit and talk to your cups. We're going to chat. Turn around.
Well, I'm not getting
No.
no cups.
Yeah, actually you are.
For what?
Meeting on the way over, you can turn around.
Williams quickly realizes Carrie isn't playing around.
Turn around.
Open the door.
No,
Hey,
turn around.
don't put your hands on me.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Don't put your hands
Turn
on
around
me.
and put your hands behind your back.
Why? What are you doing this to me for? Why are you doing it?
Now! Hand behind your
What are you doing this to me for, man? Wow.
Holy
Mom, you just shot him.
I did. Call PD.
Mom, oh my God.
911. 911.
Mom, you.
After Williams is blocked from leaving through the door,
Why are you doing it?
Now!
he tries climbing out a window just off camera and onto a balcony below. That's when Carrie grabs a loaded handgun from her desk and fires a single shot, striking Williams in the lower back.
Mom, you just shot him.
I did. Call PD.
Mom, oh my God.
911. 911.
Mom, you.
Police and paramedics arrive shortly after, but Williams is pronounced dead at the scene. In the police interviews that followed, Carrie claimed she was acting in self-defense and that Williams had attempted to take the gun away from her right before she pulled the trigger. The video, however, appeared to tell a different story. Carrie was later arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Cameras were not allowed in the courtroom during the 4-day murder trial, but the surveillance video would be a key piece of evidence for both the prosecution and the defense. The state argued Carrie was not acting in self-defense because the video showed Williams trying to get away from her when she shot him in the back. The defense, however, said, quote, "What's not on the video is the reasonable doubt." And what that means is to convict Carrie of first-degree murder, jurors would need to believe that she deliberately intended to kill Williams. Ultimately, the jurors decided the state's case did not meet that burden of proof. Carrie was found not guilty of first-degree murder. The victim's ex-wife has since filed a civil lawsuit against Carrie. Next, we're in Ann Arbor, Michigan for a sentencing. 61-year-old James Fortin has pled guilty to operating while intoxicated, a misdemeanor. 3 months earlier, Fortin was drunk and high on opioids when he crashed into a vehicle, injuring the driver, 22-year-old Heather Dufek. Heather suffered a head injury and damage to her eyesight. Fortin was initially charged with a more serious crime of operating while intoxicated, causing serious injury. If found guilty at trial, he could have been sentenced to 5 years in prison. But the state offered him a deal, and he pled guilty to the lesser misdemeanor charge. Now he's looking at a sentence ranging from probation to 180 days in jail.
Number 18, People versus James Fortin.
Today, Fortin appears virtually before Judge Patrick Conlon, who will decide on his sentence. But first, Heather makes a victim impact statement to the court.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This past 16 months haven't been easy. The constant doctor's appointments, physical therapy, speech, and eye therapy, plus going to a therapist for my PTSD, and so much more. I rely on my family for my care with my animals and my daily living. My mom and dad take me to all of my appointments at this time as I am unable to drive due to my vision issue. Mr. Fortin, you have changed my life forever.
Heather's words seem to have an effect on the defendant.
You have caused something I wouldn't have imagined of living in as a 22-year-old. And I hope you live with that guilt daily and know I deal with your pain on a daily basis because of your careless actions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Dufek.
The judge then checks in with defense attorney Matt Savage.
I've gotten to know Mr. Fortin quite well, and he was sober for almost 20 years. And due to a serious back injury, he was placed on opiates to relieve him of that pain. And sadly, he cares for his wife, who is wheelchair bound. So he understands suffering. So he feels very horrible about what happened. He's been in counseling, he's been doing AA, and he's doing what he needs to do to make sure that this type of behavior doesn't happen again. For those reasons, Judge, I respectfully ask the court to consider the recommendation that probation has put forth.
When he's finished, Fortin delivers a brief apology.
I'm truly sorry for everything. I'm doing my best, and I'm going to continue to stay sober. I never want to ever go through this again and hurt someone. It's inexcusable, and I'm sorry.
Before imposing sentence, Judge Conlon has a few words for the defendant.
I want you to know that the goal of this is to keep you sober and to have you never come back to court again. We want to make sure that not only is this a turning point for you, so that this doesn't happen again for the rest of us. Get off the opiates, stay sober, and keep the rest of us safe. That's the best we can hope for. So our hopes are on you, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
The judge sentenced Fortin to 2 years probation. He must also pay Heather restitution of $4,363, attend AA counseling, and wear a tether that monitors alcohol consumption for the duration of his probation. Next, we go to Carlsbad, California for a sentencing. 42-year-old Julie Harper's been convicted of second-degree murder in the death of her husband, 39-year-old Jason Harper. 3.5 years earlier, Julie and Jason, a high school math teacher, were having an argument while their 3 young children were downstairs watching TV. According to Julie Harper, Jason charged at her, saying he was going to kill her. That's when Julie took out a loaded pistol and shot Jason in the side, killing him. She then covered Jason's body, and after disposing of the gun, took the children to her father's house 30 miles away. Later that evening, Julie Harper turned herself in, and the state charged her with murder. Just days before the shooting, Harper had filed for divorce and withdrawn $25,000 from the family bank account. She said that she shot Jason in self-defense, claiming he'd been abusive throughout their 10-year marriage. But investigators found no corroborating evidence of abuse. And aside from Harper's own testimony, none was presented at trial. When both sides came to rest, it took a jury 1 day to return with a verdict: guilty. Today at sentencing, Harper waits for Judge Blaine Bowman to hand down her punishment. But first, a number of family members come forward to share victim impact statements, beginning with a written statement from Jason and Julie's 12-year-old son, read by prosecutor Keith Watanabe.
Julie Harper has caused much pain and misery to all the members of the Harper family. She murdered with no sense of the consequences, as leaving my siblings and I parentless. She had destroyed our lives and now will not accept the consequences. She did not realize that eventually she would go to jail, and now she is trying to weasel out of punishment.
Next, the prosecutor reads a statement from the Harper's 10-year-old daughter.
I blame Julie Harper most definitely for the fact that my father is dead. Also, I want to say that I no longer have a mother because she was so selfish and self-centered. She wasn't thinking of caring about anyone except herself. Because you killed our dad, you are no longer Mom. You are Julie. I will never call you Mom again for what you did, and I don't want anyone else referring to you as our mom. You made my brothers and me orphans. I beg the court to give her the full prison time she deserves.
Before the judge imposes sentence, the defendant makes her own statement.
A, B, C, D. Another behind closed doors. My husband was a different man behind closed doors. But he was a very different man to me. And it has been so hard to go through all of this for the last 3.5+ years after what I went through with him for years and years. And I'm still recovering from everything he did to me all those years. It seems so inconceivable to me to be facing potentially 40 years to life in prison when my husband was the one that terrorized me.
When she's finished, it's Judge Bowman who has the last word.
I understand, Ms. Harper, that you feel that a 40-year to life sentence is unfair, but you have to understand that your husband got a death sentence. Your husband's never coming back. All right? Unfortunately, the court does not have the ability to fashion a sentence that would bring Mr. Harper back to life. If I could, I would, and that's what certainly the Harper family would like. That's what your kids would like. This shooting, in the opinion of the court and in the opinion of the jurors, was no accident, and you killed him just days after filing for divorce. You are no doubt a danger to society in the opinion of the court, and you are sentenced to 40 years to life in prison for the killing of Jason Harper.
Julie Harper's serving her 40-year sentence in a California correctional facility. She'll be eligible for parole in 2034, and she'll be 61 years old. The Harper children are currently living with Jason's parents. Next, we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for a sentencing hearing. 21-year-old Datewan Robinson has pled guilty to 2 counts of hit and run causing death and 1 count of hit and run causing serious bodily harm. A year and a half earlier, Robinson was driving through a Milwaukee neighborhood without a valid license when he stopped behind a car that was waiting at a green light to allow 3 children to cross at the intersection. Seeing that the light was green and that the driver ahead of him didn't move, Robinson veered around the car across a bike lane and crashed into the 3 children. 6-year-old Lisa Gee died that night from her injuries, while her 4-year-old sister Amia died a few days later. Their 10-year-old cousin survived, but suffered serious injuries. Robinson fled the scene, but left behind a piece of his car's duct tape-covered bumper. And just 2 weeks before the incident, Robinson had gotten into a fender bender with the same vehicle.
What's your first name? Datewan. Please don't tell me you got the Saturn. Yes. Yeah, you're messed up.
The police body cam footage from the day of the fender bender helped investigators locate Robinson. He was arrested and pled guilty as charged. Today, Robinson's in court to hear his sentence. Since he has no previous criminal record, his potential sentence ranges between probation and 20 years in prison. Robinson's lawyer is asking for leniency.
October 24th, 2019, 3 beautiful children crossed Center Street against a "Don't Walk" sign. That's the truth. This is a case where the victims had no right to be in that intersection, but Mr. Robinson did.
But his argument is quickly rejected by Judge Janet Protasiewicz.
Well, actually, Mr. Robinson didn't have any right to be operating a motor vehicle, am I correct?
That's correct.
All right. He didn't have a driver's license.
Prosecutor Joy Hammond is asking for the max sentence of 20 years.
Motorists who were just there jumped out of their cars and ran to these children. But the person responsible for the accident, for the death of these little girls, turned around and left the scene. We're going to ask that you follow the recommendation of the state. I think it is appropriate. I think it is necessary, and I think it is justice.
When she's finished, Lisa and Amia's mother comes forward to deliver an emotional impact statement.
I still got a 5-year-old. And he still wonder, like, when they gonna wake up. As he get older, he wanna know this, that. And all he says, why they get run over by a car? I said, son, I don't know.
Before the judge imposes sentence, Robinson offers an apology to the victim's mother.
To the mother, I want to tell her that I'm very sorry, that, you know, it was all my fault and it was dumb. It was not smart to leave. I've never been a part of a problem like this. And the fact that I am a part of a problem like this, I will own up to it as a man before anything that my mama raised me to be. And I know it can't bring comfort to the family. It probably never will, but I'm very, very sorry. I'm probably gonna be sorry for every day of my life.
The last person to speak is Judge Protasewicz, who refers to footage she recently viewed of the accident.
Watching the video, those children go flying up in the air like they're practically weightless. I really struggle to find words to describe it. And then you leave the scene. It's pretty clear to me that saving your own skin was much more important than what happened to these young children who were crossing the street. So, is probation appropriate in this case? Probation is not appropriate. The community has to know that we are serious. But a significant time of incarceration, I think, is warranted. Mr. Robinson, I don't think that I can really sentence you to anything less than 20 years of incarceration.
For the death of Lisa and Amia, Robinson was sentenced to 20 years in a state prison. For the injuries to the girl's 10-year-old cousin, Robinson was given a 3-year term, which will run concurrently. He'll be eligible for parole in 2039. He would be 39 years old.
While you sit in jail, I hope you think of me, the girl that you called poor and uneducated. Because it's because of me you will be in prison for life.
Next, we're in Houston, Texas, for a sentencing. 40-year-old Leon Jacob has been convicted of solicitation of capital murder. A year earlier, Jacob and his then-girlfriend, 48-year-old Valerie McDaniel, conspired to kill Valerie's ex-husband, Mac McDaniel, as well as Jacob's former girlfriend, 33-year-old Megan Veritas. The motive? According to prosecutors, Jacob and McDaniel wanted to eliminate Mac because of a child custody battle. As for Megan, she'd accused Jacob, and he'd subsequently been charged with, domestic violence and stalking, and he didn't want her testifying at a trial. The couple went so far as to hire a man they thought was a hitman for $20,000 to do the job. But the move backfired, and the man began working with the Houston PD instead, secretly recording Jacob talking about the proposed hit.
We're taking care of both problems.
What both problems?
Both of the individuals that we're talking about.
Now armed with enough evidence, police moved in.
Right now, we're going to read you your rights. There's both of you been arrested for solicitation of capital murder.
Put your palms together. Put your palms together.
Jacob was denied bond, but McDaniel was released on a $50,000 bond. Jacob pled not guilty and took his case to trial. But McDaniel didn't make it that far. Shortly after her arrest, she took her own life by jumping out of her 7th-story window. At Jacob's trial, Mota Aza, the man posing as the hitman, testified how his conversations with the defendant escalated from kidnapping to murder.
He actually wanted me to make her disappear.
When he said make her disappear, what did you take that to mean?
Basically he wanted her gone, like dead.
Jacob also took the stand and continued to maintain his innocence.
I never asked anybody to kill anybody.
I never asked to have anybody hurt, killed, harmed, kidnapped, or I never asked for anybody to be in any way physically hurt.
But during the state's cross-examination, prosecutor Samantha Knecht used Jacob's own words against him.
You kept saying on direct examination that you never used the words hurt or asked for anybody to be killed, correct?
Yes.
But that's not true, right? Because you told snatch her, put her in a room, and tell her if she doesn't leave, I'm gonna kill her parents, right?
If that's what you say, I said.
Did you say it, Mr. Jacob?
Sure.
Did you say it?
Yes.
Did you not want anybody hurt when you said, inject her with potassium chloride, stop her heart, untraceable?
I said that was something you could do. I didn't say that for him to do that.
Did you recall telling the undercover officer, if those options don't work, I don't give a then you gotta do what you gotta do because my survival is more important?
Yes.
When both sides came to rest, it took a jury just 1 hour to return with a verdict. Guilty. Today, Jacob appears before Judge Jim Wallace to hear his sentence. Also appearing is Megan Veritas, the defendant's ex-girlfriend, and one of the intended victims, who reads a statement to the now convicted Jacob.
You convinced me to leave my life I had in Pittsburgh, and you convinced me it was awful. You manipulated me to leave my family and the life I had. I believe everything happens for a reason. While you sit in jail, I hope you think of me, the girl that you called poor and uneducated. Because it's because of me you will be in prison for life. I think some part of me always knew that you would try to hurt me and that you were always lying. You destroyed me financially and took away my sense of security, but you can do that no more. Enjoy life in prison.
Jacob was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. If he's granted release at that time, he would be 69 years old. Next, we head to Jackson, Michigan for a sentencing. 36-year-old Melissa Simons pled guilty to delivery of less than 50 grams of a controlled substance. 3 years earlier, Simons delivered heroin laced with fentanyl to her friend, 29-year-old Christopher Reisner. After taking the drug, Reisner died from an overdose. Reisner, who'd struggled with addiction in the past, was finally sober, working as a local advocate for addicts until he relapsed. Simons, who was an addict herself, appears before Judge John McBain to learn her sentence. The suggested guidelines for the charge are 5 to 20 years in prison. Simons, who's hoping to be released, has already served 253 days in the county jail.
You're telling me, you know what? I should just get 250 days in the county jail. Is that what you think is a just sentence in this matter? No. Okay, you hear the other gentleman tell me it was a really good thing for him to go to prison. Did you hear that this morning? Because that's where you're going. You're not going to county jail.
While the judge threatens to send Simons to prison, he does give her one last chance to change his mind.
Tell me even one substantial and compelling reason why I should depart downward from the guidelines. Because that's my job.
Because I have done a total change. I am so sorry about what happened. I did not mean for anything bad to happen. I started with an addiction. I started with pills after I had a C-section.
None of those are substantial and compelling. You got some remorse, you taking some issue with your addiction issue.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Your Honor, I
I
think.
will go.
May I, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I think there's anybody in this room that would disagree that Miss Simmons was not a drug dealer who was trying to prey upon members of this community to make money. She was sick. She had an addiction, just like Mr. Reiser was struggling. And I believe shortly after this incident, she overdosed and almost died. Heroin and fentanyl is a pandemic beyond pandemics. It is a health crisis, and she was deep in that grip.
Kirkpatrick's words do little to sway the judge, who adheres to the sentencing guidelines. 5 to 20 years in a state prison. But just 8 days later, after Kirkpatrick shows the judge some texts from the victim's phone, Simons is given a second chance at sentencing. While the defendant listens off camera, Kirkpatrick points out that on the day Reisner died, he sent messages to a number of people, including Simons, desperately looking for a fix.
Mr. Reisner reached out to her. They were both users. They were not dealers. They were both struggling with drug addiction.
And with that, Kirkpatrick asks for a lesser sentence.
I'm asking the court to consider a prison sentence of 36 months, and I'm asking the court to consider the SAI boot camp. I think that the SAI boot camp would be a further solidifier to Miss Simons to help her continue down her road to recovery.
Judge McBain considers the request and slowly starts to change his mind.
I did have an opportunity to review some texts that were made by Mr. Reisner that clearly suggest that he was reaching out to you for those drugs, and that dynamic was clearly not represented in the pre-sentence report.
The judge agrees to the 36 months, but warns Simons, who's off camera, that boot camp will be no cakewalk.
Boot camp's a 90-day program. It's going to be tough. The good news is you'll probably be in a lot better shape because you're going to be working hard out there. But after 90 days, you get to come home. So am I being fair with you? Okay.
Simon's final sentence was 36 months in prison, minus the 261 days in the county jail, plus 90 days in a boot camp.